I was really interested in that last conversation about aged care because in our family, obviously we're having those conversations right now as well, and my mother is a very interesting human being. So
she's the one on this side, not that side. Just so you know.
You might not know this, but we all, a little bit like our weight, we all have a happiness set point. So what they've discovered is that 50% is genetic. It comes from your parents. If they were miserable old so-and-sos, chances are you struggle with seeing the lighter side of life too, and being overly serious tends to be your default setting. So 50% is genetic, 10% is environment, where you work, who you work with, your health, your looks, how much money you earn. Only 10% is equated to your overall happiness. 40% comes down to how you think, how you see the world. And it's what they're referring to as your explanatory style. So some of us have a positive explanatory style, some of us have a more negative explanatory style. And I always think of it like this: you put two kids on a roller coaster and take a picture at the critical moment. One is squealing with joy, the other screaming in terror. Yeah. One ride, two completely different reactions, because it's not what happens out there ever. Ever. It's only what happens in here, how we see the world. And when we come to explanatory style, I guess we do fall into categories of optimists and pessimists. And pessimists tend to interpret life's challenges as permanent and personal. So they're the sort of people that go typical. I knew this was going to happen.
This always happens to me.
Always happens to me.
Yes.
Everybody else, it turns out all right, but me? No. So permanent and personal. And optimists tend to interpret life's challenges as external and transient. So something terrible happens and they don't take it on, they don't take it in, they don't say, this is my fault and I deserve this. They say, you know what, this too shall pass. I've handled worse, I'll handle worse again. I've got it in me and maybe I'll grow through this experience. And we can all improve our explanatory style if we put a little bit of space between something happening and our reaction. Viktor Frankl said that between stimulus and response, there's a space, and in that space is our ability to choose. So what he's referring to is between something happening, something going wrong, and our reaction or overreaction, as we all know, which drains our adrenals and depletes our ability to think clearly, there's always a space, and we can play with that space.
And Frankel's worthy of listening to because aside from being a Holocaust survivor, he was a psychologist. So he lost all of his family, his entire life's work in the prison camps, but came through that and valued a sense of humour and saw it from a psychologist's point of view too, which was really fascinating. It's a hard read, but it's a good read, Man's Search for Meaning.
Yeah, well, he also talks about the meaning for life, and this is a wise room. This is one of my favourite quotes ever. If I said to you right now, what's the meaning of life? Why are we here? Not at the conference, but on the planet. Why are we here? What's the meaning of life? Does anyone want... Yeah, go for it, yell it out. 42!
42, yes!
Woo-hoo!
If you have no idea what we're talking about, Douglas Adams' Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yes, I highly recommend you read that book. It's wonderful, and all of his books.
Yeah.
42 is a good answer. What else? What's our reason for being? Just throw your hand up if you think you've got... Yep. Fun.
Fun,
to
nice.
have fun, to enjoy ourselves, to wake up every day and revel in what it means to be human. Great. What else? To pass on genetic material.
That sounds so romantic when you say it.
Ooh, so clinical.
Give me some genetic material, baby.
I like it. Yes, please. To connect with another human being, to have those meaningful moments. And they do say that, you know, one of the keys to happiness is multiple meaningful relationships. So not feeling isolated. Viktor Frankl, I think, came up with the best answer to this question, and it's one of my favourite quotes. He said, the meaning of life is the meaning you give it. And I love that because actually it doesn't mean anything. You know, our job here is simply to live, to evolve, to grow and to die. And if we decide that life is a struggle, that's what it becomes. If we believe that life is a joy and that people are kind to us and that opportunities continually open up for us, then amazingly that tends to be what we create, because that's what our neural pathways are actually looking for. Now, when it comes to genetics, I've got pretty good genetics. So this is my mum, and she's 82 years old. This is taken just after Christmas on the Gold Coast. Look at her. She's standing in front of a chicken shop holding a $10 bear we gave her for Christmas.
Yeah.
She's incredibly happy. But my mother hasn't got enough hours in the day. She's one of those very happy people. In fact, she grew into her happy. We didn't get along when I was a kid. In fact, I moved out of home when I was 14. And I couldn't get out of there fast enough. And we fought a lot. And so we've grown into our relationship. And I now adore her. And this is her best friend, Elaine, or E. And they were born on the same day. They both have daughters born on the same day. They've been friends since they were 16 years old. Every year they travel somewhere different in the world. They love their lives. They play games every other day of the week with different groups, solo and mahjong and all those sorts of things. And we actually got them into technology recently because we want to keep them connected to the rest of the family. And Troy got them an iPhone.
And note the sparkly cover because it's Gold Coast, okay?
Yeah,
that's
right.
Compulsory on the Gold
That's
Coast.
right. And now they spend all the time on the iPhone.
Yeah.
And then we made the mistake of getting them an iPad.
Yes. Love the iPad.
Now they spend all the time. And finally I said, hey, you two, we're supposed to be connecting face to face. And this is the reaction that we got. And I love Mum with her technology too, because it means that we can talk to each other quite regularly. And just after New Year's this year, I was chatting to Mum and I said, hello, Mum, Happy New Year. And she responded, who is this and how did you get my number? And I said, it's me, Mum, Zara. And she said, oh, like the shop. And I said, you're hilarious. What did you do today? And she said, me and E had lunch and then a trip to the gyno, the Savo. And I said, oh, did you have fun? And she said, most action I've had in years.
She's only recently discovered emojis, as you can tell.
That's right. And then this happened. And so we continued. She went, oh, poo, I didn't mean to send that poo. And she said, can you tell me how to stop the thingies coming up in my feed? And I said, yes, if you tell me what a thingy is. And she said, the annoying whatsits that keep popping up. And I said, is it a thingy or is it a whatsit? And she said, what did she say? She said, no one likes a smart ass. And then she put this up.
I don't know where she found that one. I really like it.
That's good, right? That's a good one. I like it.
It's a smart ass, clearly.
Yeah, exactly. And then this happened. And she said, oh my God, why did you just take a photo of me?
No idea, really. No idea.
And I said, I didn't, you did. And she said, I look old. And I said, you are old. And she said, do not use this photo. And I said, no, I wouldn't.
No, I'm glad you stuck to that. That's
See,
awesome.
sense of humour is something that you can hold on to, but if you don't use it, you lose it. We've got to practice it every single day with the people around us. And even people that you don't know. Find people that you're at the shops with and just brighten their day wherever you can. And, we mentioned earlier that Troy and I are storytelling coaches. So we help people to be able to tell their stories. Oh, this is interesting. Troy's put this in. I didn't know you put this in.
Yeah, a little surprise for you.
It's amazing what happens when you kind of go further with your parents or the people in your life and you ask more questions about the stories. And I found this out at Easter time. Our whole family have started a ritual of going away and renting out 10 different units on the Gold Coast and spending 5 days together, which is just mental but wonderful. And I found out that when Dad was still alive and they were together, Dad was a go-kart racer and I knew that he was a champion. And one day they were at the Speedway and Dad handed Mum a helmet and he said, I'm not racing today, you are. And she said, what are you talking about? And he said, I've entered you into your first race, you're racing today. And she said, I can't do it. And he said, you can do it, just do it. And so she got into the go-kart and she clenched the steering wheel and the flag came down. And the first lap, Dad panicked because he could hear this high-pitched squealing and thought that the car had malfunctioned. Turns out it was just Mum screaming all the way. But the amazing thing about this is that her name's Kay. She won that race. She won that race and she got the bug for it and she started competing and she became Victorian champion. And then she went on to become Australian champion as well. And I love this story because sometimes we can't see the greatness or the potential in ourselves and it takes another person to reflect it back to us. And one of the greatest gifts you can give to another is to encourage them to step up and stretch themselves in their own lives and do something that maybe they don't think they can do. And when it comes to happiness and success in life and connecting with another human being, it really does all come down to storytelling, and in particular, 2 stories. The stories we share with others and the stories we tell ourselves. And the problem with that is that we all have similar fears, in fact 2 fears that we all share, and the fear is that we're not good enough and the fear that we won't have enough. And I don't know if I'm the only one who's ever not felt good enough here. Am I the only one here that's ever experienced that? You know, I've certainly been challenged by self-worth in my life, and they say that if you want to be successful, you know, self-acceptance is the absolute first port of call. But I grew up, I had an eating disorder for 25 years, some of you may know that. Spent time in 3 different psychiatric hospitals, had a cardiac arrest, died for a minute, struggled with appreciating myself for most of my life. And I'd like to say you just wake up one day and it's gone, but it's not. I deal with it and I find a way around it every single day by hopefully bringing value to other people. But this is kind of interesting. And one night I said to my husband, that guy over there, I said, you know, if enough was a creature, you know, if it was a fairy creature, what would enough look like? And Troy grabbed a piece of butcher's paper.
Having worked at Dreamworld and Movie World and done, you know, dealt with the suit characters there, I thought, you know, he should be kind of a suit character, but he should be a little bit dodgy and not really care and be really happy about that.
Super happy.
Super happy.
So we called him Good Enough, and he became our mascot. And I thought, as long as I have this guy, I always have enough. And then a friend of ours actually took him and coloured him in a little bit and started to bring him to life. And I fell in love with him. We've got a huge one on our wall at home, and I look at him every single day, and he reminds me what it means to be and to have enough. And really, at the essence of the Nuff principle, the philosophy, Nuffology, is a gratitude that whatever you have and wherever you're at right now is good enough for now. And so we, amazingly, were able to turn it into an animation series that was seen in 90 countries in 16 different languages on a short run, and we'd like to do a movie next, which would be kind of special. But we always had a dream of creating a book, and in particular a kids' book for grown-ups, and it took us a long time. I'm a Dr. Seuss fan. Anyone else a Dr. Seuss fan? Yeah, okay. So I'm a huge Dr. Seuss fan, and I thought I want to... Did I do a Dr. Seuss story at the last conference? Next one, don't worry about that. I wanted to write a story in the style of Dr. Seuss, and we finally got it published. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I thought I might close out today by sharing the story with you. Would you like to hear it? Okay, it's been a long couple of days, so hopefully I'll remember it. If not, Troy will open up the story and tell me. Yeah, you should read it. Here we go. Great. Beautiful. Here we go. What is enough? What is enough? Well, that's a good question. You're clearly quite thinky. What is your profession? Are you head honcho of something? Do you work day and night? Do you follow or lead? Are you stupid or bright? Why are you here? Should you be wild or tame? These are the questions that can boggle your brain. Does your future look rosy? Are you enjoying the ride? Are you doing good stuff? Is it hard to decide what to do next? And then after that, are you flying all over like a fruit bat? You know, questions are good, like having a brain full of dancers. And if we ask some good questions, we'll get some good answers. Like, what do I love? What makes me feel good? What can I give? What have I withstood? Who shall I be? Who am I now? Why don't cats woof? Can pandas meow? Questions are awesome. That's how we learn. They help things make sense. They can ease our concerns. But what if your questions take you down a dark track? What if your mind dancers all start to attack? What if they say things like, no one likes you? Or even some mean stuff like, you're nothing, you're through. What if you hear things that make you feel sad? Do you still have a choice to feel good or feel bad? Yes, you do, and I've got a super surprise just for you. See, my name is Good Enough, and I'm enough, and I'm here to tell you about lots of enough stuff. What is enough? I hear the voice in your head shout, well, enough is enough, enough said. Check me out.
See, here's a picture of me. I've been enough for a while. Note the furry round belly and my good enough big smile. Nuffs do like to smile. It's what we do best. We smile to feel good and stand out from the rest. Would you like to pop a smile in your dial? Go on, I dare you. Look at you. So much style. A Nuff is a creature from way out of space, and there's lots of Nuff friends for you to embrace. There's Happy Nuff and Funny Nuff and Smart Nuff, who's in charge. There's Wise Old Nuff and Cutie Nuff.
And Buff Nuff, who's quite large. Nuff is a favourite, and he isn't smart or wise, but he's still a much-loved Nuff, and well, he always tries.
Nuffs are mostly happy, amazing, but it's true, which brings me to a question, a quizzle just for you. What if today was a day like no other, a day of pure wonder, the day you discover a secret so secret even you never knew it? Are you ready to hear it? Because I'll run you right through it. Oh yes, my new friend, I'm happy to say that you have a power, and today is your day. If you choose it right now, you can have more than you know. What would you like more of? What could you forgo? Would you like some more fun or less time feeling blue? Would you like to explore more or take up Kung Fu? You can have anything you can see in your brain. If you can imagine it, you've got so much to gain. Just let your mind wander, leave your brain canvas bare, and in a blink of a whisker, you can be anywhere. Your mind is your friend, not your tormentor or foe, and your mind will go anywhere you ask it to go. Of course, to train your brain takes a whole lot of woik, and sometimes your brain will just act like a joik. Mainly because, like you, it gets frightened, and when we're afraid, we're not very enlightened. Some people get saddened by stuff when they're low, but you can't have everything. Where would it go? Speaking of which, there's a few things you should know, some things that will help you to grow. But first, why bother feeling good? Why put in all the work? Is it worth all the effort to
Sparkle your smirk?
Yes, it is, and I'll tell you why. Because we all love to be with people we like. And when we feel good, we're more fun to be around. It's when we are happy that our powers abound. But so sadly, and this is quite tragic, most people have forgotten their magic. Your magic, you know. Yes, you, little you, there's nothing not magic about you, diddly you. So here's a riddle which may first appear quite tough. If enough is not a not enough, then is a not enough still enough? Have I strudelled your noodle? Have I strained your brain? These are the questions that can drive you insane. See, not enoughs are people who are too scared to live. They aren't very happy and have little to give. They work hard each day and have no time for play. They've got too much to do and often too much to say. Not enough hours in the day, not enough money in the bank, not enough muscles in the arms, not enough fuel in the tank, not enough fun in the day, not enough food in their bellies, not enough life in their lives, not enough good stuff on telly. The brains of most not-enoughs ooze a blackish grey smog. Their thinking is stinking, and they live in that fog. Not-enoughs are grumpy. They think most things are dumb, and weirdly they seem to enjoy feeling glum. If only they knew, they would surely rejoice, whether working or playing. There's always a choice, and of course we can all get sad when there's so much to be done, and sometimes, yes, some things are simply not fun. Sometimes we're happily skipping along when out of nowhere we're bopped on the gong and it all just goes wrong. Bam, we're down on the ground. Our head gets a pound and we let out a sound like... It's not a fun sound. But no matter what happens, it's up to you how you view it. You can choose happy or sad. It's up to you how you do it. And if you ask the right questions like, what's good about this? If you look for the best bits, you still might miss. But if you only see bad stuff's all you'll see. The more good stuff you look for, the nuffier you'll be. And we nuffs on the other three-fingered hand know how to feel good, which feels good, kind of grand. We nuffs make the most of each of our days, and we all think of life as a super fun maze. We know where we're going, and we zag and we zig. We make the most of each setback, which helps us win big. Which is why I'm here with just one thing left to do, a question to ask, a question for you. What if you, my new friends, were also made of good stuff? And what if you, shining stars, were always enough? Well, you are. Always have been. Always will, and now you know the secret. Your life is set to thrill. Now you know that you're enough. What kind of enough will you be? A clever, tough, or funny enough? Or maybe you're all three. Smarty, sporty, kind, or wise. It doesn't matter what you choose. Just be the enough that makes you smile, and you will never lose. Because when you believe in yourself, when you let your light shine, when you look for the good stuff, well, most of the time, when you trust who you are, when you unstink your mind, when you smile more than not smile, I think that you'll find that the story of your life is being written by you. And you have real power. Never doubt it. You do. Just love who you are, and when everything seems like it's not going right, still believe in your dreams. Help where you can, and when it all gets too tough, remember that you, yes, magnificent you, will always be enough. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Very nice.
Thank you. My gift to you. My gift to you. And in fact, because you leapt up, my gift to you, sweetheart. Thank you very much. The rest of you, they're $30, all right? So, great.
You laugh, but seriously.
Yeah.
I do have some here.
We do have a few with us if you'd like some. Thank you for enjoying that, and remember that in your hearts.
Absolutely.
You are enough. Whatever
Yeah.
you want to do with your life, you can do.